Opening prayer. Let me get that. Good. Yes, so let's take a breath. And
You wanna
just release it and bringing in the spirit. That oneness that surrounds all there is in every single precious moment. That each one of us here tonight are one with the one and are beautiful expressions of the one. And just love the many iterations of us humans and also our wonderful feline friends and doggy friends, that we are all on this beautiful planet together. And so I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to be the speaker tonight and bring you some wisdom, perhaps, and some thought and some things for you to take in. And so I just am knowing that all is moving in divine right action and divine right timing, right here and right now. And so I'm just going to release this very short prayer and get started with the talk tonight.
well,
And
before you
join
get
with me
started,
in saying, and so it is.
so it
So
is.
yes.
So thank you all for coming. I
Um,
appreciate you.
Susan,
Um,
hold on just a second. I've got a couple of things to say to set you
okay.
up. As you can see, we started with prayer, and so I want to welcome everybody to our Wednesday night midweek Oasis service here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Paul Persuti. I'll be your host. It's Wednesday, September 14th. You just got a preview of our speaker, Susan Urquhart-Brown. I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a minute, but we want to welcome everybody that's joining us tonight. So some folks say, why do we call it the Oasis? And we call it the Oasis because it's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. We present our Wednesday night services in our version of satsang style, a little discussion, a little talk, and a lot of sharing. And we do this all with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and rich. We have an annual theme for CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, which is Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. And this month, our theme is Living Everyday Wonder, focusing on work. So if you're joining us for the first time, either on Zoom right now or watching this recording from our YouTube channel at a later date, we welcome you. We encourage you to stay connected with us through our website and signing up for our Village News newsletter, where you can receive that conveniently in your inbox every Thursday, and it tells you what's coming up in the forthcoming week. You can sign up for that on our homepage. So please know that if you haven't done it already, you'll be muted by our Zoom team, both your camera and your microphone, and that's to improve the quality of the transmission. Please stay tuned for special and important announcements towards the end. We have a lot going on at the center, and there's things going on in our with classes and social engagements, and we want to make sure you get all the latest news. So our speaker tonight is practitioner Susan Urquhart-Brown. She's just terrific in every way, shape, and form, and is blessing us tonight with the topic of creating work that feeds your soul. Now, normally at this point, I ask her to do the opening prayer because we don't start our service ever on Wednesday night. We open and close with prayer, and Susan has already done that for us. So we're ready to roll, Susan, for your topic delivery. So I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you. Sorry for starting ahead of time, but I'm happy to be here. And I know all of us have had many jobs in our careers. And some of them it's just a job. And some of them hopefully were ones that did feed your soul. And so I wanted to actually talk about more about that type of work, the work that you just discovered. And I had as you went along, and I had a conversation with a good friend we just ended up talking about all of her trajectory of her work and picking out what the theme was. And it was quite varied, many different things. And, but creativity was a part of it. And also wanting to be successful and to be in charge. And it's okay to be in charge of and have that be the value that you uh, bring to the work and the people that you work with. And so I thought I would start out by saying that for myself, creating over my years of work, it took me a while. I'm a teacher, so one of the things that I always do is one of my core skills is teaching. Somehow, I guess I can't help it. Whatever I learn, I end up teaching others. So I've taught everything from Montessori school, preschool to graduate, and really enjoyed each one of those opportunities. But at some point in my life, I decided I wanted to do something different. So I had to ask myself, what is really important to me? What is it that I really want? What do I want to do that I would just do whether I got paid or not? To really kind of zero in on a direction that I wanted to try and move myself into. And so I'd like to invite you right now to just look at that question for yourself. What's really important to you? And then it could be using certain skills, values, talents in work, but really in life, because for me, life and work are just so intertwined. And probably for most of us on this Zoom tonight, and even in what is called now lately refirement. And most of you know I did refire myself or reignite or whatever to become a yoga teacher. And so that's what I'm doing currently and loving it. So, what I found for myself is that there was always that teaching component and wanting to also support others in creating what it is they want in their life. So, just taking a moment to think of what that is for yourself. And we might bring that into one of the breakout groups. And so, and see, as you think about it, is there a pattern that you followed in your life that included maybe two qualities or two skills, just kind of a theme that ran through your life, like I shared. But I'd like to tell you a story of when I did make a big career change after uh, deciding not to teach in a classroom anymore. And actually, that's when I stayed at home with the kids for 6 years. Um, and then, wow, what do I do now? And so I decided to go back to school and get a career development degree from JFK. And that led to a wonderful job that I had to pinch myself because it was working for Alumni Resources in San Francisco that was originally started by women who went to college but didn't have any resources to help them figure out what they wanted to do in work other than teaching, being a secretary. That's dating myself, but anyway. And so it was such a wonderful job because I got to use all of what I had just learned and my basic skills, and had colleagues that I could share with. I got to teach workshops and so on. So you got the picture. It was like, wow, this was the perfect job. So some of you may remember in the 90s, there was that crash, so to speak. and everything changed. And so one day I was there at the Career Center and I was working with a new client, and I said, oh, and you're going to come back and we'll work on this and this and that. By the next day, there was no alumni resources anymore. They had closed their doors just like that. And a lot of businesses went that way. So that was really hard for me to try and deal with. But I learned three things, and I've known this in every single job, is first question, ask what's really important to me moving forward and what I'm going to do next. Ask for help and hopefully get it. Ask for help and find a mentor who has been down the road before. And so that's what I ended up doing. But in the meantime, I had to counsel myself since I was a career counselor. I was not really I was a hard candidate. I was a hard one to figure out what I wanted to do for myself. And that's why I went to a career counselor myself. And then basically I was encouraged to go, well, you have the skills, you have the experience. Why don't you go into private practice? And so that was scary because I wasn't working for anybody else for the first time in my life. And but I love doing it. And so I did have a successful private practice. But it was scary, but I did have my mentor, and Christopher encouraged me too to take that step. So I would like you to think of a time in your life, and you're going to be working with a wonderful partner, when you figured out what it was you wanted to do. It didn't have to be something closing or whatever, but how did you find out what was the most important for you in work? So, and right now, have you noticed that there's a same maybe theme that runs through for you even now? So no matter what you're focused on in your work and in your life and in your play, what are those, what is really important to you? And so if that makes sense, I would like we're going to break out into a breakout room with a wonderful partner. And I believe you'll have 6 minutes to share back and forth about what you've discovered in your work life that's very important to you, and how that has moved you forward in many different ways in career and in your life. Because I know we've all had many of opportunities along the way. So Paul, if you would break us out now into partners.
Okay, see you later.
See ya. Oops, sorry, dropped my notes. Welcome back. I know you had a wonderful partner. So I always like to open it up for any sharing, any nugget you got or thing that you didn't know you were going to talk about yourself that you would like to share, or a theme that you noticed in your life. As like I shared that I always seem to teach. So anybody who would like to share, please jump in.
If you'd like to share, just either raise your hand and Peter will recognize you, or use the reactions button like I'm doing right now, and then choose raise hand, and he'll be able to recognize you. Let's go.
Christopher.
Christopher, go for it.
Okay. My wonderful partner was Sherry, and we both agreed that making a difference in somebody else's life, making a contribution in some way was about the coolest thing going. And to be able to do that in a work environment is awesome, really awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll pop in if that's
Good.
okay. So my fabulous partner was Judith, Dr. Judith, and we had a lovely conversation. And what I found the similarities in our experiences is that we're lifelong learners, and we have both been very committed to the stages in our lives for which we took care of business. For her, it was being a chiropractor, but there were other stages. And for me, it was my young years going from a similar business that I ended up in for the last 36 years, and how that developed and grew and was creative. And I think for both of us, we're very committed to what we do. So we are steadfast in continuing on and making things happen, and appreciating the experiences that we gleaned from being in my business and moving into ministry now. And for Judith, just, the question was, we need to be with us. We need to sit with this question a little bit more, because there's more to it. It's a deeper discussion than 6 minutes. So, but it was really lovely to open that door. So thank you.
And Sherry. Thank you, Dr. Jerry.
Yes to what Christopher said that we talked about. And it just occurred to me that I love to look at, the longer I live, the more I'm evolving. And in my work life, I'd like to look at how the evolving has happened. I think Reverend Jerry touched a bit on that just now. But I went from teacher to principal. And then the principal parts that I didn't like, I dropped them off and I became a coach. So I moved into the part that I loved, which was working with people to help them to grow into who they, could be, blah, blah, blah. Not blah, 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 because it's important. I don't mean to put it down. But, and then the coaching came to a place where I couldn't, there are places I couldn't reach in the people I was working with, because it wasn't a head thing anymore. I wanted to drop down deeper and I couldn't get there. So then I went to energy medicine school to learn how to work with the subtle energies of their bodies. So it started out, it's still teaching, right? That's the core, but then it evolved into these places that I was just kind of drawn to. So yeah, I wanted to put that piece into it.
Thank you. Anybody else? These are great. Well, I had a wonderful partner, Dodie, and she said that I'm retired, so I don't know what's important. But then we got to the talking about what are we doing just because we like doing it. And I realized that all my work has to do with people and supporting them in some way, which I mentioned earlier, but there's other ways to do that. And so we are kind of people person, people, whatever. And so I thought that was really nice to be able to realize that, well, I'm not working now, but I'm really using those things in my life that I value and are important to me, and assisting others. I also was a career coach, and just share briefly about how I ended up doing business coaching, because I thought that was going to be the absolutely last thing I would have been doing, except that I needed to learn all about it from doing my own private practice. And that was a business. So that's why I wanted to always say that you don't be a lone wolf ask for help, get a mentor, somebody who's been there before you and also can be your coach, and just really find what works and go for it. So what came out of that, some of you may know that I ended up writing a book called The Accidental Entrepreneur, and the publisher came up with the subtitle, which is 50 Things I Wish Somebody Had Told Me About Starting a Business. And I was curious, what are those 50 things that they picked? But that was such an amazing process. And sometimes when you know the direction you want to go in, you have clarity, and that brings opportunities. So the opportunity came up through the Chronicle that got me going to write articles. It was a new section, career search, and they were asking for articles. So I thought, well, I'll send in an article about starting your own business. And so I did. And then I got a call from the man in charge of that section. And he said, well, I think you give me a couple more articles on in this same area. And then he came back and he said, okay, I want you to do this once a month. What do you want to call it? So called it Going Solo. And so that was in the paper I wrote for about 2 years. And it was such a wonderful and unexpected experience. And that's how I ended up with finding a mentor. I didn't really find the mentor. I had a friend, because since I was in business, you always have to have networking. And so Jim was my mentor. And he's told me one day, if you want to write a book, I want you to take all those articles and put them in some order, and you'll be surprised that you already have a book. And I'm going to give you 3 weeks to do it. He was a little bit of a taskmaster. So I did it, and I must have had, 80 pages, typewritten. And that was the basis of the book. And so I managed to publish it, and it's out there, The Accidental Entrepreneur, and it's in the bookstore at the center. So I wanted to break out to one other group.
Wait a minute, Susan, I just want to say I have
Oh,
your
yes.
book. I have your
Oh.
book and I have used it often. It's
Oh.
really, really helpful. I want to
Great.
put a plug in for your book. So
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. So, so I wanted to break into groups, and with the theme that you might have noticed for yourself. How are you using it in your life now? It doesn't mean you have a job. How are you using this? And if there's a memory of a big change you made in your life that really changed your direction of your work life or life, that might be something to share as well. And also, how have you kind of woven this into different ways of being? It could be volunteer work, could be actually working, like I'm doing yoga, for example, which brings a whole lot of stuff together that I love. So I hope that makes sense. And this will be the same. We'll have another wonderful partner. So let's break out. And
right before we do this, Susan, can
Yes.
you restate the inquiry again? The first.
Yes. What has changed? What has changed? And is most, if there's something has changed, what is most important to you now? And has there been a big change in your life that got you going in that direction?
Okay. If there was a change.
Yeah, that's right.
How did it impact you, basically? Or?
Yeah, the change might have, yes. How did it impact you? That's fine.
I'm just getting it in the chat because I need it.
Okay, it's fine. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. See you in 6 minutes.
Okay. Okay, we're back now. We'll have a little sharing of what you learned from your wonderful partner this time. A nugget, anything that that was helpful to you that you hadn't thought of, or just anything you'd like to share that came out of what's changed, what direction you might want to focus on now, because we know we are all ever changing. And then I just don't want to forget to say that, of course, we have our spiritual practices to assist us, with prayer partners, asking for prayer, and gratitude journals. That's been really good for me when I actually do it, but that's one of my favorite. But just really looking at what are those spiritual practices that support you in whatever it is in your life that is in change. And we are always in flux, really. So who would like to share anything that you came out for you with this time talking to your wonderful partner? Okay, Freya.
Well, I realized still asking, what am I going to be when I grow up? Because work has not been the focus of my life, and I would like to, in my elder years, apply myself more to something I can call work, but let's call it as contribution and something service, and no.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, don't even think of the word work. It's just, yeah,
Right.
how are you serving? And I know you serve in so many ways already, Freya. You are doing it. And then maybe just, anyway.
Yes, thank you.
Don't want to start my counselor hat. Sorry. Anybody else? Yeah, Reverend Jerry.
Oops. I'd like to just say real quickly that Paul and I found that we are both very service orientated. That is one of the key components of our makeup, and through the life changes that we've had, they've always propelled us into something, the next step, something new, a new opportunity to explore and to learn. So, yeah, that's basically what I'd like to say.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, this is Sabrina. I'd like to say
Oh,
something.
Sabrina. Okay, please.
Yeah, when I was talking with Freya, I realized something about what impacted my change, my shift, and my life prior to where I am now. I was in technology marketing, and it was really exciting, and it was, I felt passionate about creating, and it was about the money and all that stuff. And then I was out here during a very good time for technology. And then I went back to New York for 6 years, and that was the New York of Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani, which I grew up in. And, I wanted to be there to be with my family, but boy, did I go running from there and back to the Bay Area. And I'm now realizing and understanding that more. And so when I came back to the Bay Area, instead of technology marketing, I went into ministry and went to seminary. So it was like, that was a huge impact for me, and the switch.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So that was a really big switch. And how long did that take? And what did you take with you that was the most important? That my very first question. What was the most important thing in making that shift to the work that really feeds your soul?
You know, I have to say it started out, I guess, very selfishly. Like I needed to heal. Something was hurting
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to heal. And in my healing, I realized the need to just support others in theirs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So who else? You have a couple more minutes. What nuggets you got? Something you realized? You don't want to talk about work anymore. You want to talk about something else. I guess the word work is it's kind of like it's a vocation or just something that I know that I would call it for me, just now thinking about it, a calling, something called within that to really direct me in a new way. And I had no idea how to, I didn't even know where I was going or how I was going to get there. But I just want to reiterate that what really helped was looking for who's already done this sort of thing that I'm thinking of, and asking and trying to getting help, and just not being a lone wolf. And one of the things I learned from being in business is that I had to do a whole lot of networking and go to all of these groups. And one of them was something that we met every week, and we had to do a different introduction about our business every single week. And occasionally they'd let you say the same thing, but that that was a lesson in and of itself, to be able to talk about, hey, this is my business, this is what I offer. And it was a challenge at the beginning to do that. So I just wondered if so I know a number of you have shared that you have made some changes, and if you'd like to share in our last few minutes, any challenges that came up for you and how you worked through that to go in the direction, like Sabrina was sharing, to going from a very different kind of business to being a minister. So anybody want to share about that? Okay. Well, to wrap up, I have a quote, and Alan Watts always has good quotes. And this one is, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. So I know that each of you have joined the dance, and many times in your life, and actually dancing at the center as well. And that there are people out there and people at the center that are here to be able to listen to you and be of service. And that's what I've heard mostly from everybody I've talked to tonight and shared with partners, is that we are in service to each other. And that's one of the things really keeps me at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, because there's always a kind word. There's always someone to say, hey, I need a little bit of help. and someone could actually be your mentor. So I've said that a number of times, but all taking those 3 steps really helps you move forward in what your greatest yet to be, whatever you decide you want to do. So thank you for being here and listening and sharing. I appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Susan.
Thank you,
Susan.
Susan. Let's
Susan.
show our appreciation. Thank you, Susan.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
Susan,
welcome.
you know, you said an important word, vocation. So one of the slogans from Sunday, excuse me, was "Let your vocation be your vacation." So when we can really enjoy what we're doing, whatever work it is.
Absolutely. I was going to use that one. That was the Buddha, apparently.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for that, Reverend Jerry.
And who knew, Susan, that I would be able to do this every Wednesday night and be the host, right? You know,
Yes. Who knew? Yes.
yes, who knew?
Who knew? And it's.
Who? But if anybody else wants to do it, let me know. I'll teach you. I'll be your mentor.
Uh-huh. Oh no, we love you doing that. Keep at it. Keep
Yeah.
at it. But that's good. Be a mentor to somebody who's thinking they might want to do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there you go. There's the next step. Offer to be a mentor for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. I agree with you, Susan. There's lots of opportunities at the center to serve. But, you know, I go back to serve comes from a space of humility, and that you're giving of yourself. And
Yes.
what I like about being at the center is that we have all these different places where we can volunteer and do our thing, and they're various degrees. And I'm just going to add my 2 cents to what you were talking about tonight. Is that in my discussions with both of my partners tonight, I learned something new about them that I did not know.
Oh, see?
And that kind
Great
of
opportunities.
right, exactly. It just kind of like, oh, I had no idea something that was shared with me, and I think it's something fabulous to know about that individual. So I like the whole process tonight. So I wanted to commend you on that. So
Thank you.
part of what we do is also let you know what's going on, so you can find that niche, right? Or a mentor. So Peter, when you're ready, let's talk about what's going on at the center, what's coming up for all of us to enjoy, starting with Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, good. Really like her.
This Sunday, September 18th, Reverend D. Jacqueline Edwards will be speaking on living your dream. So please join us in person with meditation at 10 and the service at 10:30. We also stream our Sunday service live and directly to YouTube, and the link is on the homepage of our website under services, if you choose to watch the service from home. Next Wednesday, September 21st, Practitioner Constance Chapman will continue the discussion of living your dream. Meditation at 6:30 and service at 7. Our Wednesday night services are staying in Zoom. This coming Saturday, September 17th, let's just take a moment and read this and hear this. There is going to be a remembering and honoring of Shostin Feist. And I know you all know Shostin. She was a cornerstone of our Wednesday night services, especially always dressed for the holidays and occasions, to remind us of St. Patrick's and Valentine's and Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. She was a very big light in our life, here on Wednesday nights and at the center and with the youth and family upstairs. And her remembrance is this Saturday starting at 11, and it'll be in our social hall, and we're going to remember and honor her. We are all invited and we are all welcome. So please join in remembering and honoring our sister in spirit, Shastan. Reverend Catherine Sachs, assisted by Reverend Jerry Carter, are offering a new foundational class, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, for the cost of materials only. This will be a hybrid class, both in digital and in person. Registration will start soon, or it has started actually already on the events page. This class runs on Tuesday nights from September 27th through October 25th. Check it out by clicking the classes and workshops icon on the homepage of oaklandcsl.org. Remember to visit the bookstore after service on Sunday. There's lots of new products and new books, and everything is 30% off in September, including Susan Urquhart-Brown's book. So if you want to get it, I bet you she'd sign it if you go into the prayer room and you get her for a partner on Sunday. So make sure you check out everything that's in the bookstore. And always, for information on all that is going on at our Oakland Center, visit our website, oaklandcsl.org. Be sure to check out our events page. Don't forget you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you're not receiving it already, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News, on the homepage of the website. Just take a minute and look at all these folks in service, Zoe and Susan Brecker and Dow and Dorothy and Reverend Jerry and Constance. They keep us, they're just some of the many folks that keep us everything running at the center. And we're so grateful for their service and what they do for us. So in that moment of gratitude about our center, let's read the new minister's covenant together. I'd like to say on Wednesday nights, we're using fresh eyes and an open mind and a loving heart. Read it like it's the first time you've seen it. If you need a copy to read daily, you can download it from our website. So with that in mind, I ask you to take a breath and follow along with me as I read it out loud. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit. For it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stated in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspiring unity in diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I'm engaging the community in building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, and so it is. Ashe. So in this deep spirit of gratitude, I want to thank Susan Urquhart-Brown for being our speaker tonight again. I also want to thank Christopher Brown for the participating and being our meditation person. And Christopher will be doing the closing prayer for us in a moment. I want to thank Reverend Jerry, who's always present and here with us. And I want to thank the Zoom team, Peter and up in Portland, and of course the wonderful Sabrina and the magnificent Alice for all the work that they do to support everything from behind the scenes. So with gratitude, take your contribution, given with tribute, whatever that is that that you would like to give to the center, fond wishes, happiness, kindness, and an expression of time or talent or treasure, and just hold that gift that you'd like to release to our center and repeat with me the giving affirmation. This gift that I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. So as we release our gift to the center, there's ways that you can do that financially. It's on our homepage. It's up there under abundance and giving. That's an icon. The young folks call them memes, but I still think they're icons. That dates me a little bit, but it's also a hot link to the page where you can donate financially with a credit card or mail in a check. The address is there. You can use Zelle, and you can also text it, or you can join us in Sunday service where you can make your donation in the basket if you decide to come in person. So I'm grateful for all of these things. I do want to take a minute and also thank Constance Chapman for all of her work that she does, and Zoe, who's always here on Sundays ready to backfill if we need anything. So I'm grateful for all the support that I get. I'm grateful that I get to do this on Wednesday nights. And most of all, I'm grateful that you guys have joined us. So thank you, all of you. So Christopher, if you're ready, can you take us out the way we came in, and that's with prayer?
Thank you, Paul. No one has thanked you this evening. So Paul, we're all going to give an applause for you for anchoring this for so many years. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Susan. So let us take a breath together. As we simply remember the fragrance of this evening, as we go into our inner landscape and we behold the infinite invisible that is the inner landscape that connects us all. And in feeling our connection, we leave this evening uplifted in new ways, and we remember what is most important, what's really important to us. And we keep that fresh before us, and we keep that upon our altar. And we also keep before us the fact that we need help, and it's okay to ask for it. And lastly, a mentor is always a nice thing to have in the pocket. And so with that, we simply give thanks for that which is within our hearts, that sound of the genuine, which is always there, and that we take that forward. And we simply bless everyone on this call and everyone that will come in contact with the energetic that was received from this meeting this evening. So for that, I am most grateful as we simply release, and so it is.
And so it is.